Hi, my name is Joel Cyzo Matladi. I am an animator, illustrator, and director at Black Native Media, and I did the animated sequences on MAP1MP1. So the process for this normally starts with doing a whole lot of research specifically into the sport of rugby, and then we do research on the kind of style we'd actually like to incorporate into this. One of our references that we used was a style from 300, because we wanted to depict the characters as larger than life characters, and from there on we implement that into storyboarding. Obviously this lines up with the director wants from the brief, because that's actually our guideline for all of these things. And then from then on, after storyboarding, we get approval for that, and then from there on everything starts to go into a phase where we clean up all of the storyboard roughs. We create your final look for the artwork, and then we take all of that and we put that into animation. And then after that we go into post-production, where we add on all the special effects, all the nice things. But that's normally like at the end of the production cycle. It's more like the cherry on top, when you get to make everything look really, really pretty. And a lot of the work just happens right in the beginning, the research phase, storyboarding phase, and everything from there on is just basically formulaic. So because of how many phases that are involved in this, you sometimes have multiple people working on different things at the same time, which now results in what you see at the end as the final frame, from storyboarding to animation, to adding special effects, to adding gradients on top to make sure the work actually has a certain style, and also just like making sure like you are telling a story cinematically. Everything needs to look immersive, it needs to look engaging, so yeah. What drew me to this particular story was because of how unique it actually is, and like we never get to tell African stories like this one, especially on the scale that we're doing now. So many people behind the story, and I think it's a very, very beautiful story, and it's one that everybody out there deserves to actually hear, So I was responsible for figuring out how we're going to depict certain parts from MAP1MP1's childhood, that was like given to me, and we had like complete creative freedom on that, So we had to figure out, for one, how exactly we're going to approach certain things. For example, action sequences, the narrative sequences, especially the more tender ones and the more signature ones, scoring the World Cup tries and certain moments from his childhood, and it was a very interesting process, because through that we got to learn about MAP1MP1 himself, because before this we didn't actually have or like know about his story that well. So it was sort of like a learning process for us as well about who the character was, and then we took all of that feeling and tried to put that into the work, So we had a lot to do within a span of 2 months, and we had to figure out how we're going to get all of that done within a short space of time, especially because it's such a labor-intense process, So we had to start with the trailer first, and that's where we basically started to figure out things in the pre-production phase, getting the tone rights, getting the style rights, and getting the animation rights, and making sure that we had consistent quality throughout the board, and then that had to translate from the trailer to the duration of the whole documentary. A lot of it was very trying, because in some instances we had to figure out how to do certain things we'd never actually done before, to get certain desired results. But ultimately I think the way it came together is just really, really spectacular, and the way that it lends itself to the live action material. I think people are really going to love what we did here. There are so many moving parts involved in telling a story like this, and I hope that it actually opens up more opportunities, and people develop more of an appetite for stories like this. I think we actually have a lot to say and a lot to tell, and it's up to people like me and you to actually come together, help make and tell stories like this, help consume stories like this, and help put the stories out there. Because there are so many talented people out there who just don't have the right platforms to come and show what they can do, and projects like this actually creates those kind of platforms, those kind of opportunities, where we can all come together and create our own content and tell our own stories.